Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.
The Sparkfile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Welcome to the Spark File, where we believe that everyone is creative, but smart creative people don't go it alone.
I'm Laura Camion.
And I'm Susan Blackwell, and we are creativity coaches who help people fear less, create more, and bring their creative visions to life.
If you are an OG member of the Sparkfile community, welcome back, Sparkler.
But if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to you, friend.
Welcome to you, friend. Know that just by listening to this podcast, you're joining a warm and wonderful clan of creatives.
But hold up. You may be asking yourself, what exactly is a Spark File?
A Spark File is a place where you consistently collect all your inspirations and fascinations.
If you're like us and you're making stuff all the time, or you want to be making stuff all the time, you know that if you're not careful, your campfire of creativity can flicker out.
But do not despair. We're collecting kindling in the form of fresh ideas, images, and inspiration that spark creativity and pique curiosity to light a fire under our collective asses to make things like this podcast.
Or a wide-ranging shower of fresh sparks, courtesy of our friend, social media.
Oh, every episode, we're going to reach into our spark files and exchange some sparks. And from time to time, we're going to talk to some folks who spark us too.
That means we have more sparks than we can possibly use in this lifetime.
So please, if something lights you up, we encourage you to take that thing and make something out of it.
And without further ado, let's open up
The Spark File.
Laura Camion.
Hi, Susie Q.
Little baby Cams.
Little baby Blackwell.
Here we are near the beginning of season 3.
Here we are.
Can you believe it? Season 3, Laura Camion.
On a new journey. We're in a new canoe. A season 3 canoe.
We are really pushing this whole campfire, camping,
Oh, I didn't think
canoeing.
about that, but yeah, we really are.
Listen, Laura,
Yeah.
before we dig in to some sparks, I believe I'm sparking you today.
You're sparking me today.
Sparking you today. Is there anything to know, to share, to talk about?
Oh my goodness. There always is. There's no shortage of things to talk about.
'Tis true.
I'm going to say something about our Sparkfile Select group that is running right now.
What a group.
We just had, on the day that we've recorded this, we just started our Creativity Shares. That's the name we have for the external deadlines that, sorry, but light a fire under people.
Oh my God.
And, you know, it's their opportunity to show their work and get feedback. And we just started this round of shares And I have to just say, I'm jazzed. Like, I get so energized by it. Everyone is not only working on fucking fantastic projects,
Yes.
but they're getting the work done. They're getting it done and they're showing up.
Yes.
It's thrilling. I just find it to be thrilling.
It is absolutely thrilling. I'm so excited too because we get to go back. We record we record the shares so that we can go back and rewatch them and share feedback. And the creative projects that people are working on are so varied, really wide ranging,
Yes.
really exciting. The thing that unites all of them is that people are taking big risks and big vulnerable swings in their work, no matter what that work is. And it's an honor to be in the presence of it.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's an absolute honor. And it is inspiring and incredible to watch how each one inspires another one. You know, we're all feeding in it's a collective energy that rises all ships.
All little baby boats rise. Another thing, this is connected to the Sparkfile Select group, the Sparkfile annual New Year Creativity Kickoff,
Yes.
which will be right at the beginning of 2022. I think it's going to be a 2-day shenanigan this year. And that will be something that is open to folks who want to register for it. And it's just a great way. It's a really, really great way to get your head on right. If you were talking the other day about how 2021 and 2020, a little bit of the lost years, a little bit,
Yes.
just because of all the things that were going on.
Yes.
So if you want to get your head right, get your mind right to make 2022 a really great flowing creative year, a great way to hedge your bets would be to attend the Sparkfile annual New Year Creativity Kickoff.
This year we will be like ensuring that 2022 is not another lost year.
We were having this conversation with a friend of the pod, Bo Gostomsky, and we were telling Bo about the Sparkfile Select group and some of the workshops that we run. And he had taken, hi Bo, by the way.
Bo.
Hi, sweet Bo. He had taken an art class online during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of homework. He was sort of like, well, how is this going to be different? And, how our Sparkfile course is going to be different. And, one of the big ways that I think it's different is there's a sense of overwhelming positivity and kindness that we really prioritize in those spaces, but also it's fucking fun.
Yes.
So if you also want to just have some fun, want to learn some stuff and have some fun to kick off the new year, come along to the Sparkfile annual New Year Creativity Kickoff. It's so much fun.
There's our tagline. It's so
much fucking fun. Oh, sorry. I added the profanity. So those are some things that are happening.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I want to hear your spark. I am so ready to
get back on the spark train.
Mm-hmm.
Laura Camion and you, gentle sparklers, if you've listened to this podcast for a while, you might know that I have a really strained relationship with social media. I didn't say strange. I said strained. I have said, I think on this podcast before, sometimes I'm sort of like, shall we just cut ties? Shall we shake hands and go our separate ways? Social media is really complicated and challenging. Yeah. And I have said maybe on this podcast before, I do believe that social media it can be elemental like water or fire. You can use it for good.
Yes.
And you can also wield it for destruction. So like fire, since we're extending our fire metaphors, you can light a candle, you can light the way for someone else, you can build a fire to warm the house, or you can burn the fucking house down.
Yes, which is also I think is true of, say, television. When television were first, introduced into our homes, and as you can see, when it exploded into 300 channels, when it's being used for good or when it's being used for not so good.
Yeah.
Now we have it in our pocket, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We don't all have to gather around and manually change the channels anymore. It's just right there in our little faces. And unlike fire or water, which are elemental and essential for survival, social media is not necessary for our survival. We have survived for centuries without it. But it can be elemental in that it can be connecting and inspiring and educating and entertaining. For instance, it can help kickstart and crowdfund creative projects, or it can be used as a conduit. You can bully a person, you can cancel a human being, you can undermine a democracy. So it really is the person who wields it. And if you're using it, we're all wielding it. Really, you have a choice to make about if you're going to use it for the powers of good or the powers of dark. So I will say, and I've said this before, I know I've said this on the podcast, there are times when I see people, like I'll be at work and I'll lift up my head and I'll look around me and I'll be surrounded by people and they're all looking at their phones. And it makes me sad because there's such a disconnection from other human beings. So as I've explored on this podcast and in IRL, I know about the dark side of social media. But today I want to talk about the spark side of social media.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yes, I did. What I mean is those great ideas or sparks of inspiration that come from social media that have filled up my spark file. And full disclosure, today I wanted to have all the fun. And here's what I did, Laura. Take a little peek behind the scenes. I went into my spark file. I was cleaning it up and pruning it up and, you know, in preparation for season 3. I turned it upside down and I shook out all these little sparks that I've collected off social media. So I'm going to tell you right now, this spark is going to be all over the fucking place.
Okay.
So strap in and keep up.
I am prepared and excited for this ride.
You ready? I mean, we are going all over the place.
Okay.
So the first thing that I wanted to share is actually a post from my aforementioned friend, Bo Gostomski.
Bye.
Again, Bo had regrammed on his Insta stories this post, and I loved it so much. It's from the Insta account Mortician in the Kitchen, which is owned by Amber Carvalli. Amber, I hope I'm saying your last name right. Amber's bio says, "Hi, I'm a mortician and welcome to my kitchen. Let's discuss death and dying while I whip up some curated meals to go along."
Oh my God.
Yes.
It's fucking genius.
So in addition to being passionate about death and dying and curated meals, Amber is passionate about the Golden Girls and brewing beer. Good stuff.
Come on.
Many delightful special interests. But the post that sparked my attention had a photo of a real life tombstone. This is the caption on the post. The award for best tombstone clearly goes to Catherine K. Andrews, whose fudge recipe was such a gift that she wanted to make sure it didn't die with her. I love, love, love this so much because it really goes to show that there are so many ways to leave a legacy, and this woman knew some of hers was chocolate. Hashtag death positive, hashtag funeral food, hashtag memento mori. So that's the post.
Amazing.
Laura Camion, have you seen this post?
I've never seen this post. This is extraordinary.
I learned after seeing Bo's post, this totally went viral, but let me describe this tombstone for you. And maybe we could also repost it when this episode airs.
Oh yeah.
This tombstone, it's sort of conjoined 2 parts. It's contemporary. One part is shiny, polished black granite. And the other part looks sort of like that whitish gray angular granite. And it looks to be engraved with things that were important to the deceased, Kay Andrews, and her husband, Wade. So that includes the name of their children, clip art pictures engraved into the stone of a cowboy and an airplane and a graduate's mortarboard hat and a church, which I did some reading, and these were all pieces of their lives that were important.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Wade's part of the marker. And on Kay's part of the marker, it's the recipe for Kay's fudge.
Wow.
Just great, big, clear. Like if you took a picture of it or if you saw this post, you would have a recipe for Kay's fudge, which I have to imagine is great since it's been memorialized, literally carved in stone.
Oh,
So,
amazing.
in an article on KSL.com by Ashley Imlay, Kay Andrews' son said his mom often worked part-time, but always put her children first. Kay grew up during the Depression and knew how to make good food on a low budget, keeping her 4 sons and daughter well fed. Kay's son is quoted as saying, "She was a worker bee as well as a great mom. You always knew she cared about you, and her neighbors always knew she cared about them as well. She made a ton of fudge. She did." So the article goes on to say that when the family discussed what they should engrave on the couple's headstone, Kay was still alive. Kay and Wade were participants.
They weighed in on this.
They weighed in on what they wanted on their marker, which I think is great.
Gosh.
And Kay said, "You know what I want? I want my fudge recipe on there." And as if we didn't love Kay enough, her son is quoted as saying she had a sense of humor that was infectious. And that's why the headstone also says, "Wherever she goes, there's laughter." Now, Camion, I don't plan on having a tombstone, but I think it is so great that Kay made the choice. I think it's so creative that she had this fudge recipe engraved on hers. I think it's amazing that it's gone viral because it is a legacy and it's sparking people to make and share something wonderful that honors Kay and her life.
You know what? Yes to all of that. And thanks to social media, the word can be spread far and wide.
That's right.
Like it's one of those that like Kay's fudge, maybe in the neighborhood, or if you happen to, see her gravestone, you would, get the recipe. But how extraordinary is it? And the message of wherever she goes, there's laughter, like all of that can be conveyed to literally millions of people almost instantly.
That is the spark side of social media. So if you'd like to take it and make it, I'm just going to read you Kay's fudge recipe from her tombstone. It's located at the Logan Cemetery in Logan, Utah.
Oh my God, someone makes this fucking fudge.
I want to make this fudge. I've never made fudge.
Susan, I want this fudge for Christmas.
Laura, I will make you this fudge for Christmas.
What do you get the woman who has everything? A tray of Kay's fudge?
A tray of Kay's fudge. 2 squares of chocolate, which is not very much. 2 squares of chocolate, 2 tablespoons of butter. You melt that on low heat. You stir in 1 cup of milk. You bring that to a boil. Then you add 3 cups of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. 1 tisp of vanilla, a little pinch of salt. You cook it to softball stage. That's a
real
confectioner's term. Yep. You pour that on a marble slab. It cools, you beat it, you eat it. I love that this recipe directs you to pour it onto a marble slab because you could, I'm not advocating that you should, but you could conceivably make some pretty great fudge on a smooth marble tombstone. And there's a spark for you. Tombstone fudge. And here's your tagline, small batch crafted on genuine tombstones. Somebody please trademark that. There's a spark for you. I'm making you that for Christmas, Laura Camion. That's what I'm making you.
You do not have to use a tombstone, though. I just want you to know I would be happy with just marble.
If you are going to use a tombstone, please use one that is just like one of those smooth, polished tombstones. Don't use one of those like crudzy, old, pocked tombstones.
From 1863.
You're going to get moss in your fudge. Nobody wants that in their tombstone fudge.
It's really going to change the flavor of it.
It is. It is. This is one of the many great recipes and household tips that I have picked up on social media. Laura, are you into any of that? Are you like, I don't need recipes, I don't need household tips?
There's that. And also I have a similarly strained relationship with social. So I'm not going to say I haven't like stumbled upon something. I'm sure I actually think I saved something the other day that I saw about like how to unclog a drain with like vinegar or something. I mean, super, super simple. But nonetheless, for me, was like, oh, I might use that someday. And I saved it somewhere that I'm not sure I'll ever remember to look.
I'll never make my way back. I love that stuff. I love, especially when it is something that our grandparents would have done. Like it's something that I love that.
Yeah.
There's something I learned on social media recently This was on TikTok, and I wish I had the account. It would have been the responsible thing to be able to credit the person. This person has a TikTok account, and it's a young woman who is a professional appliance repair person. And they shared that for a high efficiency front load clothes washer, that's what I have, you only need 2 tablespoons of detergent.
Well.
Yeah, because the explanation was this is not our grandmother's washing machine and it's not our grandmother's detergent. You only need this small concentrated amount. And if you use more, like when we learned how to do laundry and you use like a quarter of a cup,
Big
a half
old
a cup,
yeah.
if you use that much, your washing machine, especially a high efficiency washing machine, cannot rinse out all the soap. So I started doing this using 2 tablespoons of detergent in my high efficiency front load clothes washer, and my clothes are cleaner. They're less stiff. And I'm like, there's not suds in the washing machine at the end of the cycle. And I think it's because it's able to wash out all the soap.
Thank you, social media.
Thanks, social media.
That is super useful.
So another social media arena where I learn so many things is in the realm of creative craft.
Yes.
So this could be painting or drawing or makeup application, woodworking, renovating. So many experts sharing insight into their wisdom. I think of Andy Berkey, who is a woodworker. Hi, Andy. Like, I love seeing makers make, and I learn so much.
Me too.
Here's something I learned just this morning in preparation. Actually, no, I was preparing for the spark, but it just so happens Nathan, my husband, sent me a TikTok that opened up this whole trend I was unaware of called fore edge painting. Fore, Fore, fore edge painting. And if you search the hashtag fore, Fore, edge painting, you can see what I'm talking about. The edge, the fore edge is the edge of the book that is opposite a spine. So if you hold a book in your hands and you have the spine in one hand, the fore edge is the edges of the page opposite that. So fore edge painting is where an artist will clamp a book in a fore edge painting press, which you can buy on Etsy, and you paint the sides of the book. You paint the fore edge of the book. And Laura, there's a twist on this where you can fan angle the pages of the book and hold them in the press just like that, hold them steady. And then when you paint the edges of that fanned angled edge, when the book is completely closed, you can't see the painting. It's a hidden painting.
Whoa.
And furthermore,
so cool.
You can paint the foredge of the book, complete that. Then you sort of create that fanned angle. You hold it in your foredge painting press. You paint the edges of that. And so you have a painting that is totally visible on the foredge of the book. And you have a second painting that is hidden.
And
in
then
the
a
foredge.
Surprise painting.
And then you have a surprise.
Oh, I would like this.
I don't think I would have ever known this had I not, been exposed to that on social media. Now, according to Wikipedia, the earliest foredge paintings date back as far as the 10th century. How are we hearing about this for the first time? Apparently, these earliest paintings were symbolic designs, and then early English foredge painting, believed to date back to the 14th century, presented heraldic designs in gold and other colors. The first known example of a disappearing foredge painting, so that's a painting that's not visible when the book is closed, dates back to 1649.
Come on.
1649. And so it's possible if you have an old book in your house, you could either do some foredge painting or some disappearing foredge painting, or you may already have a disappearing foredge painting in your house and you may not know it, Laura Camion.
Your nose, I'm checking a few books. It would be so exciting to discover that.
Foredge painting.
Is it a precursor to, like gold leaf? A lot of books have that sort of gold edge.
Yeah.
I wonder which came first. Did the painting sort of devolve into just a solid gold, or the other way around?
I don't know the answer to that, but I have seen some gold-edged books that have those disappearing four-edge paintings within them.
Only since you knew about this or before?
Since I knew about it.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't have known before. But another beautiful thing, I've seen where artists will, the paintings that are on the foredge of the book are inspired by the contents of the book. So for instance, The Hobbit or Harry Potter, if you
Oh,
have
my
your Harry Potter
gosh.
books, for example, you will have the foredges painted with themes or scenes that are from that volume of the story. And then you can arrange them foredge out so that these little paintings are on your bookshelf.
Oh, how freaking delightful.
Isn't that cute? I was really inspired by that as somebody who I'm always sort of looking for surfaces to paint. As you know, I paint a lot on thrift store paintings. I paint on wood. I'll just like, take a piece of wood and white it out and paint on it. This is a whole, I think of Kate Quaffert, who's been on our podcast. She paints the pages of books. I wonder if Kate has ever painted the foredge of a book.
I think we need to ask her. I really
love
do.
it. I'm so into this.
I love it. And all of this found on social media.
All of this found on
Just
social media.
one of those examples of like, yes, you're using it for good.
Yes. I've got more for you because I want to take you now into something that we're going, get ready, strap in, because we're headed in a whole different direction. Next up is something that I learned on Twitter from a user named Julia Yorks, Yorks. Julia is a screenwriter, and she shared some wisdom about log lines. Log lines, for those of you who aren't familiar with them, according to Wikipedia, a log line is a brief, usually one-sentence summary of a television program, film, or book that states the central conflict of the story, often providing both a synopsis of the story's plot and an emotional hook to stimulate interest. So I popped this straight into my Spark file because I was like, this is genius. Julia York's tweet thread was incredibly insightful. In 9 brief tweets, she breaks down log lines. Here we go.
Nice.
This is all Julia's writing. Lots of chatter on the timeline about log lines, why they're annoying to write, why they're important to write, but I didn't see any advice on how to actually write them. So here's what works for me. Hopefully, it can soothe your log line writing anxiety. A thread. First, the basics. A log line is a short 1 to 2 sentence premise of your story. In my USC screenwriting classes, I learned that the perfect length of a log line was 26 words. Why 26? IDK. I'm sure 24 or 28 words work equally well. The point is not to get too lengthy. Unless it's a biopic and the protagonists/villains are well-known people, don't include character names in your logline. Give us the concept, aka the promise of the premise, not the plot points. Intriguing but vague is good, convoluted is not. So, how do you write a standard logline? I usually start by plugging my story into a generic template like this. And again, I just want to say all of this is Julia York's tweeting.
Yeah, thank you, Julia.
Here's Julia's generic template. A descriptive adjective, main character's profession, must do something antithetical to their nature in order to solve a big problem. You're probably like, huh? But plug in the premise of a movie you know. For example, Silence of the Lambs. I'm going to repeat that template one more time for listeners at home.
Yep.
A descriptive adjective, main character's profession, must do something antithetical to their nature in order to solve a big problem. So here is Julia's example from Silence of the Lambs. A young female FBI agent must rely on the help of an incarcerated and manipulative murderer to catch a like-minded serial killer before he strikes again.
Boom.
Ta-da!
Boom.
There you go. There's
go.
your log line. Julia goes on. If my story centers around a big event, I'll use a when/then template like this one. When a big event in our setting, comma, Our descriptive adjective, main character's profession, must solve the problem. I'm going to say that one more time. When a big event in our setting, comma, our descriptive adjective, main character's profession, must solve the problem. So to break this one down, plug in the premise of Jaws. When a killer shark unleashes terror on a small beach town, it's up to a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to stop the beast. Shabab!
Shabab!
I love it.
When then?
When then?
So good.
Julia goes on. Personally, my work has a lot of world building, so the majority of my log lines follow the in a world where template.
Mm-hmm.
You get it? In a world where template.
Mm-hmm.
And that one goes like this. In a world where rule of the world, our descriptive adjective, main character's profession, has to do something that goes against that rule. I'm going to say the template one more time. In a world where rule of the world, our descriptive adjective, main character's profession, has to do something that goes against that rule. And here's the example that Julia Yorks gives. Think about a quiet place. In a world that is overrun with deadly extraterrestrials with ultra-sensitive hearing, a pregnant woman and her family are forced to live in silence. She closes by saying, "That's all I got." Julia Yorks, that's all you got in 9 tweets. You have broken down log lines. You sparked it in 9 tweets.
And 3 different kinds of log lines.
3 different kinds of log lines. Laura Camion, you've got some experience with log lines. Does that track in your log line experience?
It all tracks. I think one of just the biggest temptations is how much people are trying to say in their log line, like jam it in.
Oh.
And you don't need as much as you think. But I think it's hard. Like people, it's like killing your babies. You're like, but I need to say this.
But this is what she's referring to when she says intriguing but vague is good, convoluted is not.
And the thing is, like, again, what people won't know, you could take that log line and give it to 10 writers and still get 10 different scripts, even though the log line was the same.
That's so beautiful, though. The spark, like they each, anything you do, let it come from you, then it will be new. So through the lens of each of those writers, that one logline spark could, spark a million screenplays.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, though, that there's the temptation to be like, let me get enough in here that people know how unique my script is. But in actuality, the logline is like, it needs to be captivating and capture your attention, but it isn't going to tell us how uniquely Susan Blackwell is going to write that. That's not its job.
Also, thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Julia.
Save me that tuition at USC and that film major that degree.
What do we have now? Do you think we have an MFA in writing, or what are we working on?
I was also so fascinated. The perfect length of a logline was 26 words.
That I've never heard. That's new information for me. I jotted that down.
Love that. And also I love that unless it's a biopic and the protagonists or villains are well-known people, do not include the character names. So if it's not about Cruella de Vil, we don't need to hear the character names.
That is correct.
I love this.
Cool. Julia Yorks, thank you so much.
9 tweets saved me that tuition. Thank you, Julia Yorks. Another thing that I've been collecting from social is all sorts of learnings and curiosities around language. I love it. And we actually implement some of it in our house. So here's one that this is in hot rotation in our house. This is a tweet from @Susie_Dent. Herkel-derkel from 18th century Scots is to lounge in bed long after it's time to get moving. Camion, we use Herkel-derkel, I'm going to say 3 times a day in our house. Yes. I'm just going to Herkel-derkel a little longer. I'm just going to have another cup of coffee in bed and Herkel-derkel, and then I'm going to get moving.
I'm going to confess to you that your husband said this to me, and I thought it was a cute little, like, just something kind of made up, right? Of like, oh, Herkel-derkel, how cute. And he was like, it's a real thing.
That wise owl. Well, everything is made up, but this particular thing was made up by 18th century Scots, I believe, according to Susie_Dent on Twitter.
I think it's amazing. Will you read the definition one more time?
I will. Herkle-durkle from 18th century Scots is to lounge in bed long after it's time to get moving. I'm herkling, I'm durkling.
Now, can I herkle-durkle on the couch? Because I do sometimes get up early so that I can just move from the bed to the couch with my coffee and herkle-durkle there.
Is that true? I didn't know that about you.
Oh my God, yeah.
I feel like herkle-durkle has legs, and you can walk those legs straight over to the couch and herkle and durkle over there.
I'm gonna herkle-durkle on the couch. Yeah.
I love it. Let's get it trending. Thank you, Susie Dent. In this language bucket, there's some accounts that really examine language, and I just love it. There's an account I follow called Shit You Should Care About, which is not exclusively about language. Their handle is at SYSCA about Shit You Should Care About. And they shared this Twitter thread on language that went straight into my Spark file, and it goes a little something like this. No one asked, but here's a list of the best words in the world that have no English equivalent.
Ooh, I love this list.
I love this, and I'm going to give you some of the highlights, and I'm going to mispronounce some of these words, I'm certain, and I apologize for my ignorance in advance.
You're forgiven in advance.
Shimamajamo is Georgian, and it's a word meaning when you're really full, but you just can't stop eating.
Oh,
Shimamajamo.
Every Thanksgiving, the English-speaking world needs this word.
Exactly. Shimamajamo. I feel like I do this in the evening when I'm full, but I want to eat a sweet treat because I want a sweet treat, probably because I'm trying to stave off sleep, but like Shimamajamo. Thank you. Thank you for that word.
Wow.
This is amazing. There's two phrases. One is from the French, l'esprit de l'escalier, and from the German, Treppenwitz. When you think of the perfect comeback, but it's already too late.
We need these words.
Well, we have them now. Treppenwitz, l'esprit de l'escalier. This is an amazing one from the German, Backpfeifengesicht. Backpfeifengesicht, a face badly in need of a fist.
Ooh! Whoa!
There's some politicians who have Backpfeifengesicht.
Oh my God.
I can't even say
There's
it.
some spawn of some politicians that have those faces.
We're getting political up in here. Okay.
That's the extent of our political talk.
Next up, from the Inuit, Iksuarpak, literally that feeling of anticipation when you're waiting for someone to show up at your house and you keep going outside to see if they've arrived.
Oh, when you're so
Iksuarpak.
excited.
Isn't that sweet?
Oh, I like that.
I like it
that
too.
Concept. I like that it has a word to describe it.
This is from the Arabic, and I relate to deeply. Ya Aberni, being hopeful that you will die before someone you love deeply because the world would suck without them.
Oh.
And it literally means, may you bury me. Ya Aberni.
Oh.
Put that in a poem. My poem today is entitled Ya Aberni. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
This is amazing. This is unfucking believable. This is from the Indonesian, and it's menkolek or menkolek. This is literally a word for that trick where you tap someone lightly on the opposite shoulder from behind to fool them. Menkolek. Can you believe there's a word for that?
Oh my God. Wow. That needed to be named instead of just an annoying little habit that someone who's like your little brother's trying to drive you crazy with.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
This next word is from the Filipino gigil or gigil, the urge to pinch or squeeze something that is irresistibly cute.
Okay, come
Gigil?
on.
Come on.
Oh.
I like to think that it's pronounced gigil, like you make me gigil. This is from the Japanese koi no yokan, the sense upon first meeting a person that the two of you are going to fall in love.
Oh.
Laura, when I barged up to you the first time I met you, did you have a sense of koi no yokan, or were you just terrified?
No, I think I did.
I feel like I come on, like having it recounted to me, people who have met me for the first time, I feel like I come in way too hot when I'm excited about somebody.
Well, first of all, it feels really great for you to be excited about a person. I say it was just the right temperature. I think it was really wonderful.
I feel like I need a word about what it's like when I come in way too hot the first time that I meet somebody because I'm excited. It's going to be related to koi no yokan, but maybe not exactly that. The next word, oh, this is rough. This is from the Tagalog. Leogenic, a person who is attractive from a distance but not close up. I
Oh,
mean,
come
come
on.
on, Tagalog. This is amazing from the Hawaiian Panapa'o. When you scratch your head to help you remember something you've forgotten. Panapa'o.
Oh,
You ever do that?
so it's like it's a verb. It's the scratching
panapa'o.
of the head.
When you scratch your head from this, I'm telling you what I've got. I'm not sure if it's a verb, a noun. Scratching.
I'm sorry, but I'm still on the one before this, the like attractive from far away, but not close
Leogenic.
up.
Yes, the
It
Tagalog.
started me
Give us that.
thinking about like, is there a word for that phenomenon of like, the more you get to know someone, the more attractive they become.
Laura, that is a great question. That is a great question.
Oof.
And I remember the first time I heard somebody describing that. They were seated at a dinner party. I feel like I should do this as a blind item because some of these people are public figures. They were seated at a dinner party next to an artist who is talented,
attractive from afar,
that physically, externally, they, they look like a human being. They look like what a real human being looks
person.
like.
Yeah.
And my friend was saying, as the dinner progressed, they said it was like watching a Polaroid develop, and that Polaroid kept getting more and more attractive because the person was so charming, so funny.
The personality, the humor, the intelligence, like it, and then suddenly, like, this is like the most attractive person I've ever met.
You should make up that word.
Okay, let's think on it. We're going to work on it.
Okay, if you want to base it off Tagalog, that word is leogenic, but you could come up with something and maybe it ends with the word genic.
Okay, I'm going to work on this.
Work on it. Take that spark, fan it. Next up, the Japanese give you tsundoku, buying new books and letting them pile up unread.
Oh,
do you feel seen?
Yes.
Do you feel called out?
Yes,
do you feel called
I actually feel someone is pointing a finger at me and these piles of books.
The minute someone mentions a recommended read, you will go on Amazon and purchase it.
Yep.
I've never seen somebody with you are not fucking around.
I'm not fucking around, but that's been new. That's like a new habit of the last like year and a half.
I think it's a great habit.
Then I got to pause, read, and then like catch up a little bit.
Yeah. Tsundoku from the Japanese, buying new books, letting them pile up unread.
Oh,
here's another one from the Scots. Tartle. That panicky feeling you get right before you have to introduce someone and you can't remember their name.
There's a name for that.
I got a bad case of the tartles. Yeah. I was herkle-dirkling over there so long.
I got a case of the tartles.
I jumped up off the bed. I got a bad case of the tartles. That is something oh my gosh. I feel like I do so much like hosting. And as a function of that, not just socially hosting, but also like hosting groups and moderating and facilitating and stuff like that, where it would be a natural extension of that I would be responsible for making clear introductions of people. And I have to tell you, one of the sunny sides of the pandemic is doing it on Zoom. Everybody's name is right there below their faces. That tartly feeling.
Oof.
All of those came from, again, shit you should care about at SYSCA about, which is, it's not exclusively a language account, but they from time to time will have some nice languagey things.
I like it.
There is another account that focuses almost entirely on language. Laura, do you follow on Twitter Haggard Hawks?
No. because I don't follow anyone.
Oh, you're like, I don't tread into Twitter.
I mean, it's rare, but
Okay.
yeah.
I respect it. Listen, who you're talking to, I totally respect it. There's this account on Twitter called Haggard Hawks, and it is all about language. And it just completely delights in language, which completely delights me. And you can take a deep, fun dive. This person also, the guy who runs this account has written books, and it's just like language, the most delightful language, arcane language. It's so great. So I'm just going to share a few examples, but they're so delicious to me. They're so sparkish to me. In 18th century folklore, unspoken water was water fetched beneath a bridge, the road over which leads into a cemetery. The water was supposed to have exceptional curative properties so long as the person collecting it remained silent the entire time. Unspoken water. Tell me that unspoken water isn't the name of a book, an album, like unspoken water.
Fuck.
Come on.
Yes, I'm silent over here because I'm stunned into it.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yes.
This is the kind of the sparky gems that Haggard Hawks is serving up for you. This one, I saved it in my Spark file back in March of 2020, waiting for this moment to tell you.
Thank you.
A lacrimist is someone who cries easily.
Say it again.
Lacrimist.
Can you spell it?
I sure can. LACHRYMIST. So it looks like latch, rye, mist. Lacrimist is someone who cries easily.
Oh, now I feel seen between this and the books.
That's right. You are wait, let me get them all queued up here. You are a lacrimist who engages in tsundoku.
With occasional fits of the turtles.
When you were hurkle-durkling this morning, when you woke up, you were not expecting to hear that sentence aimed at you, were you? That you are a lacrimist who engages in tsundoku.
Oh my God.
And I just want to give you one more example from Haggard Hawks. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right because it has a distinct punctuation over the character A, one of the characters A. So the Swedish word mangata or manjata, the line of silvery white light cast by the moon on the surface of a body of water, it literally means moon street.
Oh my
Mangata or manjata.
God, again.
And that is Swedish. Now, isn't that beautiful? And even the word is beautiful. It's MANGATA. Like it would be so beautiful on the cover of something. It would be so beautiful.
Yes.
Like if you're a neon artist, like shape it into neon.
The thing is, like some of these words, they're one word, but they're like entire poems.
That's right.
It's poetry. Just the one word.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful? And can't you just picture it? The moon reflecting on water and it creates that silvery stripe.
Oh, yeah.
It's a moon street, AKA a manjata.
Moon Street. Like I just want to go walking down Moon Street.
A careful splish splash.
Splish splash, yeah.
I just want to jump over. This is a user I'm not super familiar with, but Adam C. Sharp on Twitter did this post, and I loved it so much that I saved it. And this is the entire post. A whatchamacallit in different languages. Number 7, thingamajig, English. Number 6, chingadera, Spanish. Number 5, hinstergims, Danish.
Huh.
Number 4, nani nani, Japanese. Number 3, zamazingo, Turkish. Number 2, dingsbums, German. And number 1, coming in at number 1, Adam C. Sharp on Twitter, hoppeldepup, and that's Dutch. I just love those, like different words for whatchamacallit.
Hoppeldepup. I feel like I heard that word. We had a show in Amsterdam. I think. And so I got to spend some time in Amsterdam when we opened the Blue Man show there. I think I heard that. I am certain I had no idea what they were saying, but it turns out they were saying a whatchamacallit.
A whatchamacallit. Isn't that, I love that
thingamajig
so much. I heard, and I don't have this here, I'm just pulling this up out of my butt. I remember hearing all the different words that are used to represent cock-a-doodle-doo in other languages, the sound of a rooster crowing, and it's like cook-a-lee-loo, and all of these all of these different sounds, like whether it's French or Spanish or whatever it is. And I love that for the same reason. Human beings have adapted that mana poetic language into their own, and it just delights me.
I am loving these words. I'm like, not even able to really talk because I'm like furiously taking notes and just thinking about how I can incorporate these words into my daily life.
Until you figure it out, just tuck it into your Spark file and they'll be waiting for you. I swear, Laura, at a certain point, like I was shaking out my Spark file and just any little social media scrap that I was like, oh, I actually love this. Oh, social media isn't the Antichrist. Like I was putting him in the Spark, and I was like, at some point I just had to call it because I was like, come on. I could go on and on and on and on, but I'll conclude with this post. You know, Laura, you and I have been working on our finances.
We have.
And there's this whole realm. If your algorithm is attuned with it, there's this whole realm on social media around money and finances and the use of Excel and all of this, all of this really great, useful stuff. And I always save it and I tuck it into my Spark file. But little sparklers, if you're listening, Laura and I have really been working on tracking our money and caring for it and affirming it and cleaning up old blocks, because we want to be good to our money. We want our money to be good to us. And so it's just something we've been working on lightly, ongoingly.
Yep.
And I mean, this is probably another spark for another day, but there's this book that we enjoy called Get Rich Lucky Bitch. I know it's kind of a saucy title, but but we're saucy ladies.
We're saucy people.
And her take on it is, when you're like cleaning up money blocks, she's like, some of the stuff may sound woo-woo to you, but throw the kitchen sink at it. Like, try it all, see what works for you, see what doesn't. And I really like that. I'm sort of like, discard what doesn't work for you, maintain the stuff that does.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the spirit of that, I want to share this post with you. This was on TikTok. Oh my God. While we were on our hiatus from the podcast, I really had been resistant to getting into TikTok because I was like, you, Laura, told me the reason it's called TikTok is because it just sucks time. And it does. I can just
I'm
be
not sure
scrolling.
if that's the real reason, but yeah.
That should be the reason.
TikTok.
It's just like TikTok
fly away.
And watch your time fly away, which I do not condone, though I sometimes fall prey to it. But there's something about TikTok that I enjoy, and I just have to use it in moderation and enjoy it and consume it in moderation. Otherwise, I wouldn't have time left to create. But there was something that I saw. It was created on an account called @KingSoon4774, KINGSOON 4774. And this TikToker creates all of these sort of mantras and affirmations and curse breakers. And this is a money curse breaker. And the original poster, KingSoon4774, recommends that you hold 4 pennies together and shake them while you listen. But I am going to do my best. They do a beautiful job of, like, they do it medium tempo, they do it fast tempo, they do it slow tempo. And even on a separate post, they do an extended dance mix of this. And I was like, I'm learning this. And when my mind has free time, this is what I'm doing with my mind now. So you ready, Laura Camion? So this is KingSoon4774's Money Curse Breaker. Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree. And every time it chings, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly from top, left, right, and up under me. Wave, 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 I'm a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out plus money saved. Debt, 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 all debt is paid. Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree. And every time it ching, money comes to me. And it all flows in so abundantly from top, left, right, and up under me. Wave, 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 I'm on a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out plus money saved. Debt, 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 all debt is paid. And then he slows it down and he goes, ching, ching, ching goes the money tree. And every time it ching, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly from top, left, right, and up under me. Wave, wave, wave. I'm a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out plus money saved. Debt, 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 all debt is paid. And I was like, I will learn that and I will sing that in my car when I'm driving,
Yes.
when I have a little free time,
Yes to
instead of
that.
being like, I'm worried about this or I'm creating problems over here.
Let's sing the Money
I'll
Tree
sing-
song.
I'll sing the Money Tree song. I loved it. I was just like, I just thought it was delightful.
I want the lyrics to it. We're making a video of this. This will be on
not
social.
Posting it. Will it?
It will.
On TikTok, I could stitch together a little duet. I could duet with King Soon 4774.
I love that so much. It's so delightful. It's so fun. What a fun thing to repeat, just to create those new neural pathways. Think of how many times your little pathway to, I don't have any money, there's no money in the account, I'm not going to be able to pay all my bills. That is a well-tread path in your brain. So let's all start singing this song and move in a different direction.
Ching, ching, ching goes the money tree. And every time it ching, money comes to me. It all flows in so abundantly from top, left, right, and up under me. Wave, wave, wave. I'm on a money wave. Money flow, money made. Flowing in and out plus money saved. Debt, debt, debt. All debt is paid. Like, it's so happy making. I love it. I love it.
Amazing.
So what do we make of this, Laura Camion?
What do we make of it?
Well, I feel like it's a buffet. It's a feast. It's a smorgasbord.
It is.
Write yourself a log line. Make yourself some fudge. Paint the edge of a book. Make some money.
Suze, one of the things that keeps coming to mind for me is that, I mean, obviously I'm in complete agreement with what your overall thesis, that there is a spark side to social media and there's good things that can happen. And you can use it for the powers of good. But I think that another thing that's coming to me now is just how something that you may think is an obscure, tiny, niche idea that might appeal to like 3 people in the world. If your passion is true for it, you can put that on social and either those 3 people are all going to come together and say, I'm so happy we found each other, us 3 people in love with this thing. But you more likely are going to find that there are thousands upon thousands of little word nerds and, kitchen morticians.
Fore edge book painters.
Again, amazing. It's amazing. And whereas I think we've been taught to, at least I feel as a creative, I've been taught to constantly analyze things from the point of view of like, but what are you going to do with that? Okay, yeah, you can paint the edge of it, but what are you going to do with that? Who's that going to appeal to? How do you capitalize on that? Will it make money? How can you scale it? Which none of that needs to happen. You can post it on social media and find your people.
Yes, it can bring people together. I also love, when you were saying that, I know that there are people that respond to potential creativity in that way. I've met some of those people who are sort of like, yeah, but can you make money or blah, blah, blah. And I don't mean by being a social media influencer. I mean by being somebody who loves to paint the foredge of a book.
That's right.
Or being somebody who loves to just bask in the splendor of words. And my feeling about it is there's so much bounty in it. Not only the great feeling that you have when you're engaging with the creativity, but also I'm going to make that fudge for you. And it's going to be fun to know that I am making this fudge that Kay Andrews, this is her legacy tombstone fudge, that I am engaging with something from this woman in Utah who I never knew.
Yeah, but also wherever she goes, there's laughter. And we know when you give me that fudge, there will be laughter. So you're continuing that.
Yes, no, I love it. And the pleasure, not only the pleasure of the creating, but then the pleasure of the sharing.
Yes.
And whatever pleasure that will bring to you, to the people in your household that you love, the people that you share that with, the story that you get to tell about Kay.
Yeah.
And I just think there's the value.
There's the value. And I think something else we can make out of it from this lesson from you, Suze, is that we can remind ourselves that we are in control to a large degree, not completely, but to a large degree of what crosses our feed. And we can curate so that we cut out those things that make us feel bad or make us feel like we've just wasted time, and we can make our feed be like spools of inspiration and little bursts of joy.
I think that might be one of the strongest takeaways, the strongest what do we make of this, out of this whole thing, is if you are going to engage with social media, to really do it responsibly and to curate it in a way that makes you feel better for having engaged with it. And also that you have to remember, I'm talking to myself here, I have to remember that that consumption is the lazy counterfeit to actual creativity. Like, take in as much as you need to get inspired and then put the fucking screen down and get to work. I'm talking to me.
That's
I'm
right.
talking to myself. But if you're listening and you relate, like, I know the power of like all of a sudden looking up and being like, oh my God, I have lost 90 minutes to TikTok.
That's right. And I could have gotten started on that painting I've been wanting to do, or I could have written 10 more pages of my script, etc.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So please enjoy responsibly, as they say, about all of these types of things. But that is my little baby
Suze,
spark.
You really illustrated the lightness and the brightness of social media.
The spark side, you mean to say?
The spark side of social media.
Let's get that trending.
You did.
Thanks, Lord.
I feel like you've given me really, really positive feelings about it. It makes me honestly kind of inspired to be like, I should seek out more channels that bring me joy, that elicit this kind of emotion in me. Thank you for these tips.
You're welcome. And thank you for telling me exactly what to get you for Christmas.
Yay!
Fudge and a fore-edge painted book.
I would totally lose my shit if you find a fore-edge painted book.
Find it, girl. I'm going to paint it. Come on. Who you talking to? Wonder what it will be. What will that? I need to think of what that picture will be that I could paint on that book. It might have monsters in it.
And what book is it going to be?
And what book is it going to be?
People are going to be on the edge of their seats to know what my holiday gift will be from you.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure they're going to listen to this episode of the podcast and then forget immediately that this conversation ever happened.
I think you could be right about that. But nonetheless, we will report back.
Let's just dial down our expectations and just know that I might get the fudge made, probably won't get the book painted, but
you have time. If you stop with the TikTok, you have time.
Oh God, you're probably right. Oh, I've been caught in a web of my own making.
You're the gift, Susie Q. You're the gift.
Likewise, you are the gift. And on that note, friends, I think that's it.
That's it.
This episode of The Spark File was made on the lands of the Lenape people. And as always, we hope this put another bunch of sparks in your file. Listen, if there's a spark that you'd like us to explore, or if you'd like to learn more about how to coach with us to bring your creative ideas to life, email us at thesparkfile@gmail.com, or you can contact us through our website, thesparkfile.com.
We will even happily take your feedback, but you know the price of admission. First, you have to share a creative risk that you have taken recently.
You can follow us on social media at The Spark File, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and 5-star review this podcast if you are so moved. It really helps other listeners to find us. If you like this podcast, we do hope you'll share it with people that you loved. And if you didn't like it, it's season 3. Why are you still here?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
If something lights you up and, gets your creative sparks flying, we're writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that's been knocking at your door. It's your turn to take that spark and fan it into a flame.
You got to take it and make it. I would love it if a listener would tally up how many times we said the word spark during that episode and just let us know. Tote it up, toters.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I wanna make or how I wanna be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.